Welcome to the Childcare Genius Podcast, the world's leading authority on childcare marketing, mindset, expansion, and profitability. Our host, Brian Duprey, is the world's most sought-after childcare coach, having helped tens of thousands of childcare owners from around the globe take their business to the next level. Let's welcome to the Childcare Genius Podcast, our host, Brian Duprey.
Hello, and thank you for joining the Childcare Genius Podcast training series. It's Friday, and that means another training episode for you. I do this every single Friday, give you an episode and teach you something that maybe you don't know. And I'm excited to let you know today that this episode is sponsored by Childcare Genius Marketing. We have a full range of marketing services to help you get full enrollment, help you get tours, help you get people in the door, and do your business a whole lot better. So if you're struggling with enrollment, reach out to Childcare Genius Marketing by going to our website at childcaregenius.com, and we'll help you fill your school. All right, so today we're going to talk a little bit about living below your means, something I'm really good at, have done for a very long time. But what I've noticed with owners I've coached over the years is in this society, delayed gratification is something that is just not done. We live in a I want now world. You know, when I grew up, layaway, my mother would save all year long for Christmas, would lay things away at a store, and the young people don't even probably know what layaway is. But she would go and buy something, but they keep it. And you make payments on it every single week or month. And when it's paid off, they give it to you. That's layaway. And that's how things were bought. You know, they used to have a thing called the Christmas Club as well, where my mother would put $50 a month or a week away. And Christmas, you would have money for Christmas. That now we just throw it on a credit card. We pay buy now, pay later. And that instant gratification has really changed society to the fact that we just get it and get it now without thinking about the financial consequences. You know, that $12 cheeseburger today costs $24 by the time you get paid off with all the interest you're paying. You know, it's really worth $24 for a cheeseburger. I don't think so. Probably wouldn't even worth 12. All right. So be smart about money. So today I'm going to give you some tips to how to live below your means. It's one of the requirements to becoming a childcare multi-millionaire. You're never, ever going to be one without learning to live below your means. And so what does that mean? Living below your means. It just means not spending everything you make every single month. Having lots of money at the end of the month, living on at least half of what you make, that is living well below your means. But if you could live on 80% of after tax, that is living below your means. I preferred it to be 70%, 60 to 70% of what you after tax earnings. If you could live on that, you're doing really well. Now, here's why you want to do that. You know, in an average recession, your revenue is going to drop by 30%, which means your profitability is going to drop by 30%, which means you're going to be making 30% less. So if you're making $100,000 a day, you're only going to be making 70 during a recession or less. So if it takes 85,000 to live on now, or 95,000 or 105,000 to live on, you're actually losing money and going backwards in a recession, which you don't want to happen. So if you live below your means, you're not only accumulating money towards a rainy day fund every single month, but you're getting in good financial shape. You're probably paying down debt with that extra money, building up reserves in good shape. So, all right, some reasons why you want to live below your means. It gives you good cash reserves. We have unpredictable cash flows in childcare. You know, seasonal dips, late with subsidy, government shutdowns, sudden repairs, your HVAC system goes down. So there's a lot of things that you could lose money on in your business. You got to make sure you have good cash reserves to help you with the dips. The next one is it could help you reduce financial stress. So you could focus on the center. You know, worrying about personal bills drains your mental energy. But having enough money and, you know, not have to worry about $1,000 a month car payment. And I haven't had a car payment, I think, 15 years. If you can't afford to pay cash, you can't afford the car. That's the rule of thumb as an owner. Do not go out and buy a $100,000 car and finance it. You can't afford it if you have to finance it. You pay cash for it. You save up for it. You put a little bit of money away. That's the way to do it. If you live below your means as a child care owner now today, you will have money to invest back in your business, which will help you become a multimillionaire in the future. I wrote it all in my book, Child Care Multi-Millionaire. If you haven't got it yet, go to our website. You get it free. I'll even pay for shipping, but I got good stuff in here that if you live below your means, how you're going to become a child care multi-millionaire in the future. You'll never become one if you spend everything you make. I can promise you that. It allows you to reinvest profits back in the business for growth. It takes money to make money. And if you spend all your money, then you won't be able to take some of that money and make more money with it. Like when we opened our second location, and third, fourth, all the way up to the 10th location, it took money to get those new ones started. So we had to live well below our means to be able to have that money and able to expand. And as our revenue and money increased, we put it back into the business for 20 years. We did not increase our life. We lived in the same house. It was small, like 2,300 square feet. We raised 5 children in there with 1 bathroom. Nope, we had 2 bathrooms, one upstairs, one downstairs. And it was small. All right. There were 7 of us living there. We could have easily afforded a better house. But I wanted to get that one paid off. We paid it off in 20 years instead of 30. And I was determined that I wasn't going to move until that house was paid off. And that was our goal. And we kept that. And the money we saved by not upgrading it, money we saved by not having the fancy, expensive cars, that money we saved, we put back in our business and created a multi-million-dollar childcare business. We also started buying real estate with the money we were saving by living below our means. And now we've got about $12 million of real estate because of that. And so it's all stemmed from living below our means for 20 years. Now we could buy anything, fly anywhere around the world. We drive the expensive cars. We got multiple houses. All because we delayed our gratification for many, many years and lived well below our means and made great financial decisions. But it all stemmed from really having good financial management from day one. And as our lifestyle and income increased, we did not add to our lifestyle. We kept below the means. I didn't care what my neighbors thought. I didn't care what my friends thought. I just didn't care when I'd be driving my 2007 Jeep Grand Cherokee with 125,000 miles on it. Who cares? The people you're trying to impress today with money you don't have will never pay your bills. And when we hit recession in 2008, guess what? I had hundreds of thousands in the bank. I was able to ride that recession out. Many of my competitors, they went bankrupt during that time, and I ended up buying them out. Why? Because they weren't living below their means. So I hope you hear me. If you're a new child care owner, this is the best advice I could ever give you, is to live on 70% of what you make, bank the other 30 for investment to grow your business, and you're going to be a multimillionaire in 5 to 10 years, maybe 15 for sure. All right, so another reason to live below your means, it provides a buffer during slow enrollment periods or economic downturns. It also protects you. There's a high risk nature to small business ownership. A lot of them fail. All right. So again, the more you can sock away for that rainy day, the better shape you're going to be. It'll enable you to pay off debt faster. If you have debt that's above maybe 6% interest, you're going to want to accelerate the payment on that, get it paid down. Some of you have loans that are 10% or more. You want to really pay those down faster because you're paying a lot of interest. Living below your means allows you to do that. Also, it sets a strong example for your staff members. If you're driving a $100,000 car into your work and your staff sees that, they're going to think you're rolling in it, and they're going to want a big raise. That's the first thing. But it sets a poor example because, they can't afford to drive something like that. I always drove my piece of crap car to the daycare centers. And once I could afford the nice car, we don't drive it to the childcare centers because we don't think that's, prudent for us to do that. It'd be like showing off your wealth. Your Mercedes does not belong at the childcare center. Get an old piece of crap car and drive that thing in. Then the workers will feel like you're one of them. It gives you this freedom to say no to unnecessary expenses or risky decisions. Living below your means allows you to not make stupid decisions. That sounds weird. But having the freedom to say no when things come up, or no to that fancy car, or no to that $100,000 playground, where you can get used playground equipment for a fraction of the cost. Yeah, you're gonna, it's not gonna be the flashiest, it's not gonna be the nicest in the area. Maybe you don't get that $100,000 splash pad, but guess what? Children don't care. They're gonna have just as much fun with a hose, as that $100,000 leap pad, or just if unused equipment. They don't care, you know. And if a parent's looking for that, well, they can go to the other place. You're going to look for parents that want the kids loved and are happy. We never had any fancy playground equipments, but yet we had thousands of parents who put millions and millions of dollars into our business because they believed in us, and we didn't necessarily. We were good stewards of money too, and they knew that. And we can keep their tuition lower by not having all that fancy stuff. It provides a better work-life balance and prevents burnout. And when you're working for that dollar and you spend every dollar you make, you can't afford, you freak out when you lose 3 children. We were living probably on 30% of our income, maybe 40% for most of that 20 years. I could lose half my kids, half my income, and not even blink and still be making a profit. How many of you could do that? And the last thing, living below your means now will create generational wealth for your family and legacy security. My wife and I sacrificed for 20 years, and it was sacrifice, I can tell you that. Now, my kids, my grandkids, my great-grandchildren will never have to worry about a college education. They'll be able to have money to start a business. Finances will never be a burden to them in their life because my wife and I decided to live below our means while we were building our business. To me, that is more important than me driving a fancy car early on, was creating that legacy and creating financial stability for my family. I never had money. My parents didn't have money growing up. So I didn't know what I was missing out on. Some of you growing up with more of a silver spoon, and maybe you're millennials, and you're used to buying whatever you want in there. And if you're living at 100% of what you make, you're never going to accumulate the wealth, and you're always going to be chasing it. And what's going to happen is, you'll eventually maybe pay your house off when you're in your 60s. And maybe you can afford that fancy car then, but are you leaving generational? Are you leaving millions and millions of dollars to the next generation? And if that's not important to you, that's fine. All right. That's just something that was important to me. But anyway, I hope this helped you today. It's probably one of the most important topics that I teach, is not spending everything you make. Again, the book Childcare Multi-Millionaire, you can get it free on our website. Don't buy it. It's free. Get it today. Go to childcaregenius.com, go to the books tab, and order this free book. I'll even pay for shipping, so it costs you nothing to get in your hand. And there's 101 nuggets and tips in here that will change your life. I teach in here how to get a $10 million net worth in the next 10 to 15 years. That 8 figures. That's something important to you. Go ahead and order that book today. All right. Thank you so much for joining us today. This concludes this episode. We will be back, or I will be back next Friday with another episode of the Friday training series of the Childcare Genius podcast. Have a great weekend and a great weekend.
Thank you for listening to the Childcare Genius podcast. If you enjoyed the show, please do us a favor and hit the subscribe button so you don't miss a future episode. Don't forget to visit our website at childcaregenius.com to see a list of services we offer to help grow your childcare business. Until next time, thank you for being a part of the Childcare Genius community.